to another episode of Office Hours. I had some cancellations today, and frankly, I wanted to play some guitar, and I came up with this idea to do a little loop on The Maker, which is a Daniel Lanois song, which has been covered by a bunch of artists. I think you've got Neville Brothers and Willie Nelson, and I don't know, I think Jerry Garcia actually did it too. So spectacular tune, really great ideas at play in terms of the simplicity of the chord progression, and yet how much of a like soulful experience it is to hear this little groove. So you've got this little that kind of idea. And what a lot of my students seem to still have problems with, even after playing for 10 or 15 or sometimes 20 or 30 years, is actually playing rhythm and keeping rhythm. And a tune like this is a really good indicator of where you're at. So if we find a little delay, and kind of use it as a way of keeping our own time. So we're hearing that just that one hit is setting the tempo. So it's kind of like, as long as we hit the next, we have a little drum machine kind of built in here. So we're trying to maintain a nice steady. So the loop does a good job of that, obviously, but if you can do it on your own, you know. that's kind of what's going on in this loop. And what am I doing over top of it? Just kind of going for the spacey, soulful thing. That's C sharp minor. B, so by going to the B chord, that's its third. That sounds really nice. And then back to E. A. So this is a little trick that I love doing, is this little move here. We're going A, and then an inversion of the A. This is not a Fish song. No, this is a Daniel Lanois song. Inversion, and then back to the B, and then the second inversion again. Well, that same inversion again. Okay, up to E, back to A, and then A, and then we come up to that B6, E. Anyway, using a tune like this with the relentless 16th note energy to it. Really, really good for practicing. Chord over minor chord. Yikes! Divine wipes out. Game over. Anyway, folks, super fun song. I love playing around with this kind of stuff, but you don't want to crash and burn like that, folks. All right, so look, hey man, sounds great. What looper do I use? Everybody always asks me that. It's not a long loop at all, but it's a shitty looper, I'll tell you. It pops, it gargles, it gurgles, it trashes everything I ever put into it. It can't be stored, and it's not long enough. And it's made by Kemper, and it's baked into the Kemper profiler that I use on all these lessons that has the DI out that you're hearing when I hit this one button. The good news is it didn't do its typical thing where it only lets me put down one track. It allowed me to actually, it's very finicky, it allowed me to record bass, so that's why you're hearing that low end. So that's 3 tracks of guitar. There's one going... and then going one... just doing a little harmony to get the sus. And then it's going... well, the other one's going... sound. I've found Eyes of the World loop on my YouTube, and I just slow it down to 75% or higher to practice. Yeah, that's a good thing to do. I like the idea of using the delay to keep yourself in time. Yep, that's right. So the idea for sure is this E major sound. Can we get rid of some of the goo? All right, so the idea is, yeah, we've got major pentatonic here, and every now and again we can bring in a full-fledged, you know, E major Ionian arpeggio. That kind of sound. That can sound really pretty. But what we really want to do is occasionally bring in this. That. Hey, thank you very much, Eric. Practice track. Can it be uploaded as a practice track? I guess I could. Sure. I was lucky enough to play. Hey, that's cool, man. I've seen some footage of him playing a tune, and that's why I thought it was kind of an obscure song to throw out there for some Deadhead type guys who I know are fans of the channel. But on the same token, I wanted to try to branch out a little bit. So yeah, I suppose I could upload this or something like that. So one of the ideas is that you don't want to make it too candy ass and too pretty. So when you're playing, try bringing in some of that blue that note right there. You know, so maybe we got. Let's see where we're at. C-sharp minor. Really fucking hip. All right, so don't think you have to stay completely out of the dirty end of the pool. Sometimes it's fun. What's most important, I think, for you to keep in mind is when you pick your tone that you don't overdo it with the gain, but you don't underdo it with the gain. If you don't have anywhere to go dynamically, and that usually within the guitar, you want it to compress at a certain point and only get more distorted depending on how hard you pick. So I can get to clean sounds. You believe that he used a Digitech whammy pedal on this song. I wouldn't doubt it. I have one sitting right here, but I used it extensively yesterday, and I thought to myself, I don't think I'll go back for seconds on the Digitech whammy. So today I'm going with a long throw delay, like that, and so that's a lot of regeneration, a lot of, and then a big reverb. I've never used delay much. Oh wow, yeah, I use delay to the set. Yeah, so what most delays these days have, fortunately, is a thing called tap tempo. So it allows you to choose where, if you click on the downbeat and then the next time you pick, you hit the foot switch on the tap button, it will put the repeat roughly where you stomp down. So if you want it to be quarter notes, you would go dunk, dunk, dunk over this. But if you wanted it to be dunk, 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 you could go dunk, dunk, like that, and it would be a little different, you know. So right now we've got, oh, sorry, I turned it off. Okay, and when the delay goes into the reverb, it creates like a very washy sound. Okay, so once put on top of the backing track, you can create like an ambient wash with a big sound like that, right? I mean, it lasts forever, just one note. You do have to be super responsible. You don't do too much incorrect, because otherwise your mistakes will reverberate into infinity as well. So that's kind of a bummer. So this is just a big long reverb. All right, but when I choose these big reverbs, I usually will create them. Hey, gotta bounce. Take care of yourself, man. Your phrasing sounds as natural as breathing. Well, you know, Alex, thank you so much for the comments. I must say that it's something that's it definitely stems from singing. So, you know, when you want to try to sound natural, go with the vocal. Whoa, deep water, right? That's the. So let's just come in on the beginning of the sing. That's just the part. Pockets where you can really imply some intensity. So much like a singer would, you want to have peaks and valleys, and you can't make every single note like Mariah Carey style, where you're just over singing every fucking note. It can't be like that. All right, you can't shout at your audience. You have to actually vary what you're doing for/to them. Okay, so you want to make sure that you're playing some music, not just playing the guitar, right? So thinking about the how many Erics are there in this live chat? No shit, there's a lot of them. Professor, it's good to see you here. So the idea of not being overwhelming and allowing the track to breathe, but at the same time getting a chance to shine, is truly a difficult thing. It's kind of like controlling salt or pepper or some sort of spice when you're making a dish. Okay, and you want to make sure you're not over present, and you know, you want to share, but leave people kind of wanting for more. So one of the things you can do to do that is to deliberately take breaks. You know, pause. That's why singers have a hard time, you know, over singing. That's why we emulate the human voice. We don't have to stop playing guitar. We can just keep going, but it's bad. Try to think, what is the vocal melody, or would a singer be able to continue singing all this time, or would they have to take a break? Also, getting out of the way of some of these effects I've chosen is a helpful thing. I've done a lesson on this in the past where I focus in on the fact that like there's this reverb that I'm interested in hearing coming up. Right, so I want to get out of that thing's way. So if I start out like, you know, successful in this. Because if you don't, it just kind of sounds like you're talking to yourself rather than talking to the track or the band that you're playing with. So allowing for magic to happen rather than just endlessly spewing E major scales is definitely a huge part of this, all right? And there are mistakes aplenty in my playing. I kind of factor in the element of surprise into what I'm doing as much as I can because I want it to be fresh and exciting for me so I stay inspired. But that also means taking risks and being prepared to fail, which I do all the time. And this is something that if anybody's ever taken a lesson from me, they've heard me tell them this 1,000 times. You and I are on the same journey. We're just in different spots on it. So, you know, fear not, my friend. You too are on my path, and we're all on the same path towards, you know, whatever it is. It's just we're in different spots on it. And I may be equipped with more experience than you or insight, but I'm happy to share it, and I'm happy that you're traveling with me. So what can I say that isn't quite so zen? Sit down with a metronome and get your 16th notes together. Okay, that's like real world advice as opposed to the spiritual shit that I was just spouting before, which is absolutely true too. But I want to make sure that you understand, like, a lot of this is just hammering out the 16th note pulse so that you can't play downbeats on the yeah, thank you, exactly, Bob Russ. Nice fluffy E major pentatonic scales. So the idea of being locked into a 16th note, yeah, don't be hard on yourself, just keep going. So we really want to 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E, okay? So when people talk about alternate picking, I think they may have a different understanding than what I mean, okay? Because if you look, if somebody was playing 1, 2, 3, 4 quarter notes, I would not insist that they go 1, 2, 3, 4. I would think that that's fine, okay? And I would allow for 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? That's what I mean by alternate picking is 16th note grid, okay? And so, yeah, Alex, that's exactly what you should be doing. So we were to draw out a grid of 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a, right? And assign down, up, and down, down, up, 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 down, up. Wherever the notes land, that's where your upstroke and downstroke should be. Not this. So you should be slavishly dedicated to maintaining that downstroke gets downbeats, okay, adherence to that grid, rather than thinking, oh, I just took a downstroke, therefore I must take an upstroke for my next stroke, for my next note. That's not necessarily true. If there's enough space between the notes that you're playing, it may not be the case. It may be the case that you may be coming in on an upbeat, in which case you should, in fact, do an upstroke. So there's no rule other than the one that I just said about the 16th note grid should be adhered to at almost all points in time, with the exception of knowing that you want to do something funky monkey up the road, and you may need to have a double down in order to do it. So occasionally I will do like, see where I'm kind of going. Right. Getting those kind of things together is really helpful for not exhausting your right hand, because it's a lot of stuff. Or if we're playing groups of 5 or 3, that can be helpful too. So, right? So if you're playing your 16th notes over China, you're good. So if you listen to the isolated tracks of Jerry playing that, you'll hear all those little, not, well, I mean, you even heard it. That little is really important. If you don't hear that, you don't feel that, and you don't get that feeling of like, I got a groove. Okay, so bear all this stuff in mind, and you guys will definitely do better with your speed picking and stuff like that. Not that anybody that I'm teaching is really particularly interested in becoming like a shredosaurus. What most people want is fluidity and the ability to not get hung up between what their hands can do and what their mind is hearing. All right. So this is also another huge thing. Is actually hearing the line that you want before you play it. If you can't actually sing it, it makes it really hard to store it in your brain and then keep it for the next time you play. So if I'm going like this idea. Right? The fact is that I'm mouthing while I'm playing that. I'm thinking that. Okay? And if I couldn't do that, I would have a hard time kind of inserting that into this jam. But as it stands, no problem. C-sharp minor chord. So it sounds really dreamy. All right? So look for those opportunities to learn the phrase and sing it, right? Yeah, audiating is tough. I seldom practice it. You should definitely sit there and play with the lights out and your ears open and try to get a little some of this, you know. Where are you going? Boom, ba-da, boom, ba-da, ba-da, boom, ba-da, boom, right, where you're playing. Ba-da, 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 just from a known point. And even if you're not singing the actual pitches, like Keith Jarrett or somebody like that, he's famous for singing while he plays the piano. And I frankly, I don't like hearing that, but whatever. Flame suit on. I definitely practice in the dark with my eyes closed. Like you are definitely holding yourself back by looking at your guitar. All right. After you understand where things are supposed to go, stop looking and start closing your eyes and listening. At first, you'll be clumsy, and then soon you'll start to feel the distance between where your fingers are supposed to go rather than looking at them. All right. You asked yesterday how you could make people, I think it was ladies, as a matter of fact, how you could make the ladies enjoy your music enough to enrapture them. Well, one of the ways to charm an audience is to look at them and identify with what's making them move and moving with them and creating a kind of a flow state for everybody. That's really what's important. And you can't do that while you're looking at your fingers, and you definitely can't do that while you're looking at your iPad. Yeah, you did ask that, Alex. So, sometimes it's important that we feel this music more than think this music, and especially if the desired result is coitus. It was not tongue-in-cheek. All right, all right, fine, tongue-in-cheek, but I'm just saying you have to engage with the music, and you have to engage with your audience. And the more visceral and the more you can minimize the intellect in that process, the better. Okay, if you're thinking, it's stinking. That's an old saying, but it's kind of true. All right, don't think, feel. The time for thinking is here when we're in the woodshed, and then, believe it or not, if you play what you practice, then you've got to actually practice playing, with your eyes closed and standing up. So here I am seated comfortably at a chair. This is not how I perform. The guitar is ridiculously high. I would never dream of going on stage like this. When I rehearse with my band, I do not rehearse sitting down in a chair with headphones on. I definitely, try to embrace what I'm going to be dealing with. So I think that that's an important thing. Another thing I struggle with is expanding and retaining your vocabulary in blues. No shit. All right, so here's the deal. The way you retain vocabulary is by singing. That audiating is, again, that's what it is. So if you can sit down and let's get rid of some of this extra. Let's get rid of some of that extra goo. Yeah, no more reverb. Okay, so. Too much Clapton. Yeah, that's cool. So let's just try thinking about playing little licks. All right, something like that. Right, we want to be able to. Right, so once we learn how to do that, we should learn how to do that over E. Right? So that would be instead of out of B, out of E. All right, we'd come up to its fifth. Right, something like that. And then again, out of F sharp. Right, so. All right, so now we've got that lick hopefully committed to memory because we've sang it a few times and we put it over all three chords in our blues. All right, and that way when we come upon the opportunity to play that. all that stuff, has really become much better at being vocal with his guitar over the last decade and a half. Well, 15 years is a long time, but I would agree. And let's be honest, John Mayer is an exceptional musician and has always been a hard worker and a super smart guy. So I don't even know the guy, but, you know, he's smart enough to actually have reflected on how he was playing, even when he had the Dead and Company gig, and got much better very quickly. And that was a hell of a thing to have that much growth even after he got the job. And I think he's kind of taken it as far as he can. I'm not sure whether or not all this, I hear a lot of hullabaloo that he's the reason why DNC's not touring, rather than what I would have thought, which is that those other guys are old and rich, and what's the point? Like, why do they want to spend their last couple of summers on Earth on the road when they could spend it in Costa Rica, you know, drinking margaritas and having fun? But whatever, who knows? I really value John Mayer as a guitar player, even though I don't really listen to him too much. I think he's just super important to the guitar playing community. Hey, love the office hours and glad to finally catch one live. Yeah, me too. Thanks. Yeah, you know, Douglas, thank you for checking in, and happy to be here. You know, I had a couple of cancellations. People are starting to bug out and go away for Thanksgiving. So rather than being a hard ass about it, I tend to just be chill. Anyway, so look, the Maker was just where things started. If anybody has any questions that, you know, are on their mind, I'm happy to. All right, I'm happy to look at that. If you guys are wondering how to get, you know, some of this energy going with the tone, you know, again, light overdrive and a really light touch. Okay, so I'm not always hammering. You know, if I'm here on the neck pickup and I'm going, you can hear how very quiet it is. And then, and that's where pull-offs and things, they come in really handy because you're playing without the noise, so you can use the dynamics of the right hand to really kind of expand the range of the guitar. Technical ability. All right, well, I mean, that's weird. That is, I gotta admit, that's kind of like one of those words, like pornography. You know when you see it, you know, and you feel, you know when you feel it, right? It's like if it speaks to you, then that's feel. But I think a lot of it comes from actually just basic understanding of timing, right? So you can hear how, like, if I'm not trying to toot my horn, but I think that, like, I've really embraced the ethos of rhythm. It's like I'm banging a drum with all my students. It's all I talk about. It's like the notes are like fucking secondary, people. That's all an afterthought. What's really important is, are you moving, and are you making it move? Are you moving with the flow of the tune? And if you are, then it really doesn't matter. Wrong notes are easily overlooked. Wrong rhythm is absolutely like, sticks out like a sore thumb and sounds like noise. There's a difference between noise and tension, right? And we can solve for tension. We hit a bad note, right? Let's look at something that should, I mean, this is very inside, but let's just look at this. Bad note, really bad note. But I mean, watch us use it right here. can't handle is hearing it out of time, okay? So, you know, that's just a very easy example to prove. But I mean, any note can be utilized if we use it either in time or for the right amount of time, okay? So there are no wrong notes per se. There's just, you can only be on them for very short duration. That's the best way. So, you know, we can hold these root notes, you know, 5, all that, you know. You've heard the Fire on the Mountain rhythm from many different, oh boy, hold on a second. I lost that. That was too long for old eyes to read, but I'm excited to see what you had to say. So bear with me for a second, folks. There I am, live. And I've heard the Fire on the Mountain in variety. Oh, yeah. Okay, so let's talk about that. Yeah, there are a variety of approaches to Fire on the Mountain. None of them involve this much gain, okay? And I don't have my envelope follower. Well, actually, I do. Let's get that a little bit more reined in. And we'll go to a different. Whoa. Bear with me for a second, everybody. Where is Fire on the Mountain? There we go. So my approach has always been what I see Garcia do on most things is literally just clock with the snare drum. Just like that. All right, nothing too major. A lot of so whatever, however much of that comping you want, 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a, but he's just hitting with the snare drum as far as I can tell. Okay, and then there's some debate over, you know, whether or not you want to hear that kind of A to A major 7 or A to E. Either way, you're going, right? I suppose this is the more inside sound, you know. But I like that too. All right. So I mean, I owe everything that I have musically to my heroes, but on the same token, one of their traits has always been their willingness to abandon the past and kind of look forward and do what they hear. So I don't know whether or not I'm doing the music a disservice if I'm playing it incorrectly on that A major 7, or whether or not it's E, but it's a pretty straight ahead look. I mean, we've got, the only difference is I'm putting the A here and then putting a C sharp there. I'm just changing these two notes from there, if that is in fact the sound. But what I'm really hearing is, right? So, I mean, in a song with only 2 chords, it's kind of hard to believe that there's some dispute over what the rhythm is. But yeah, I'm not sure if that kind of addresses your issues or your thoughts there, Ezra. All right, but I hope you're happy. I hope you're doing well. That is a great song, though, for I guess emerging soloists to kind of play. What does Bobby do use? Gosh, dude, I have no idea. I can't think like Bob Weir. I don't know what it is. I think the man is actually far more confusing and difficult to understand. But I mean, if I could the problem is I don't really listen for Bobby's parts because my job in not a very lucrative one, mind you, but my task is to decipher and understand the Garcia perspective, and that's a passion of mine, much more so than to understand the Bobby parts. But I'm assuming he's just got some sort of counterpoint that's going on there. Yeah, I mean, it's because he was born on a planet far away. You know what? There's another Eric. Oh my God. So maybe that's the point. Maybe it is that he's from another world, but he's definitely not your typical bear. But I've never really been that concerned about what's going on the Bobby's part in Fire. I would always tend to play more of a this kind of thing where I just try to stay out of the way, be kind of small. A lot of people think that that you have to play a lot to be a huge part of a band. And the truth is, Bob Weir has proven to be an essential element to the Grateful Dead sound, but has not been in the limelight really until I think Dead and Company is giving him the opportunity to actually step up and be recognized in a way, because all those songs you still see the feel is still there, even though I think his tone as of late sounds like a bunch of broken glass had a baby with a hive of bees. It's not exactly my cup of tea. It's a little overbright. I just heard some Wolf Brothers stuff that just, fucking has paint peeling amounts of treble. I don't know how to actually generate that much high end out of an instrument. And I'm shocked because I hear he uses flat wound strings. So that is just an awful lot of, I prefer that warm sound that he had back when he used to play this kind of guitar. You should go and check it out. Those Bobby parts are available. Almost the entire Veneta show has been stripped and separated and isolated. So go check out how integral Bob Weir's part is, and how almost inconsequential Jerry's part is in Sugar Magnolia. It's crazy how little Garcia does on some of these tunes. Okay. Similarly, Bertha, Bob's playing a shit ton of guitar, and then Garcia's sitting there going just basically not doing anything other than focusing on singing, okay? And then when it's time for him to blow, boom, okay? Flick, boom, rip it. And then he goes nuts. And that's what I love about that band, is that they were prepared to do this together rather than it's me, it's me, it's me, it's me, and everybody's striving for primacy at one time. That's where it stops being a conversation and it turns into the musical equivalent of the Maury Povich show. I started learning I Know You Ride, a great song, wanted to transfer it to bar chords. Don't do bar chords, yucky. Okay, don't use bar chords. Bar chords for I Know You Rider. Don't do that. Let me teach you the best thing you're gonna learn today. Okay, is playing a D chord like this. Just a little fragment. Okay, you're gonna start on the D string, and you're gonna throw your pinky over the top, and you're gonna get. And it's the same notes as this, but it's much easier to. It's really easy to hold this chord shape as a D chord, C shape. Okay, and then you get the added bonus of. Okay, let's get that. is not what I think of when I think of a bar chord. This is that. No, not allowed, okay? Don't do that. You want to be thinking fragmented. Bob loves the 2. 1, that little thing. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Okay, but just do this. You can do it just, but then what ends up happening is when you go, this all starts to go. All right, but if you keep your pinky there, you're getting this low note to add the support. Okay, so D, C, G, or I would actually play a different chord. I would go D, C, and then come up. Playing all 6 strings. You want to be constantly coming low, high, right? And embracing the rhythm of the whole thing, not just always going full floor, full. Okay. I thought he said to close your eyes. Close your eyes and I'll miss you. I'm talking about when you're soloing and you're looking around for the notes and you want to work on ear training. Obviously, there's going to be sometimes, Eric, you wise guy, that you're going to have to look at the fingerboard, okay? And especially when you're learning how to do these things. Okay? So this little idea, this is the way I play my phony Keith Richards stuff, and it really sounds better, in my opinion, than playing. I don't really like that. I prefer this, you know. Tiny chord. I like that a lot more than, again, no bar chords. This, no bueno. All right? So, not trying to rag on anybody who does it that way, but all right? I just love the sound of this era of Bob's guitar sound. just sounds kind of chirpy up here. And then warm and woofy. So really cool, you know? I think I'm going to go have some lunch and get ready for my next round of lessons, but super happy to say hello and good morning or good afternoon to everybody, depending on what coast they're on. And thank you for tuning in to all these things. If you are here and are not subscribed or have not taken the time to press that little bell button, you're doing yourself a disservice if you want to stay informed. While I may be appearing in your feed from time to time, if you hit that bell button, anytime I do anything, ding-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling, you'll get a notification on your YouTube, but not necessarily like pushed to your email, so it won't bother you in the middle of work or anything like that. And as much as I'm at loath to ask for your participation, it makes it more fun when there's people that are asking questions and stuff like that. All right? No, Eric, thank you. Thank you for tuning in. It's really good. I definitely appreciate everything except for Eric's wise crack. I think he'll understand that you're no longer my student. No, I'm kidding. Just messing around with you, brother. All right, so everybody, if you're interested in, thank you. You're very welcome. And like I said, this is a circle. That's a beautiful thing when somebody enjoys sharing and other people enjoy receiving, and it just kind of continues. So I'm happy to do it, and I hope you guys are well and enjoy yourselves this weekend. And maybe I'll see you sooner than you think. Who knows? All right. I'll catch you later. All right. Bye-bye.